This is Rock Girl Kimi, and we are here with Gary Holt from Slayer. You have a new video for Pride and Prejudice. It's the third installment of the music videos that are a short series. They're short stories, excuse me. Tell me how they all piece together.
Well, if you watch them, and they weren't released in chronological order. If you watch them, I think, which one's actually the first? I think You Against You is actually the first if you watch them in order. Pride and Prejudice is the last. It's the tale of I guess he's a white supremacist who obviously finds love in a interracial relationship and ends up killing the people who killed his pregnant wife. It's a pleasant story. Videos are never pleasant to make, though. It was awful. The You Against You video was like the hottest day of the entire summer in LA, and we had to head bang outside in direct sunlight for like 8 hours, and Pride and Prejudice was freezing. Like we had layers of thermals on and stuff. It was like the coldest video I've ever done. Not too long after the hottest one. So, it's like making videos always brings out the whiny bitch in me. It's like I hate it. It's like my least favorite thing to do. But they came out really great. In the end, you look at them and like, wow, it's kind of a piece of art. So it's cool, but I just don't dig the process,
Okay.
It's like, repetitive lip syncing all over and over all day long,
Right. Could you please tell me more about the new album?
Repentless, it's not so new anymore. God, it's been out for like about a year now, I guess. It's been doing really well. It charted like number 4, I think, something like that. I don't know. I didn't pay too much. I don't remember that stuff. And I haven't listened to the album in ages. Just I don't really listen to music I'm a part of. I don't know. I couldn't tell what order the songs are in. I have no idea. And it sounds crazy, but it's the same with Exodus. I don't listen to my own records, when they're done. I never put them on.
So speaking about Exodus, how do you juggle being in between the two bands?
It's not easy, and most of the time I don't. Craig and Loom, the guitar player from Heathen, he's filled in for me for a long time when I can't be there, and he's filled in quite admirably. He does a great job, and it sucks, that I can't be there all the time. I can't be there most of the time, it seems, but I've between Slayer's schedule and trying to maintain some semblance of a home life with my wife and my children, my only other option is to stay on tour 12 months out of the year, which I can't do. It's like I break down and fall apart physically anyway. So after this tour is done, I'm gonna go full bore to work on the next Exodus record. We've got like a chunk of time off after, and try to get it done and ready to go in the time that I have off, and so that when the time is right. 2017 at some point we'll drop a new Exodus, and I'll be able to hit the road for it, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right. How long have you actually been playing music?
I'm 52 now, and I started playing guitar at 17, so it's 35 years. Long fucking time. I should be a lot better. That long playing, I should I should know a few more licks. I know about 5. I just know how to use them in several different contexts, but it's like, yeah.
Oh, you're great. So what has it been like since you joined Slayer?
It started as just a short-term thing to help out some old friends, and unfortunately, tragedy struck in the middle of all of it. It was going to be like a 2-month endeavor. It's just, it's taken some time off from Exodus at the time that Carrie called me up and asked if I'd help out, and I said sure. It sounded fun, step outside my own little Exodus box for a little while, and unfortunately here I am still, and I say unfortunately because if tragedy hadn't struck, with Jeff, Jeff would be here in his rightful place in his own band, and I'd be in my band where I've always been happy and comfortable in my skin anyway there, But this band's like a second family to me. I guess I'm fortunate that I have 2 bands that are like bands of brothers. So it's like, it's pretty awesome in its own ways. But like I said, tragedy is what's led me to be here almost 6 years.
Okay. Who has been your musical influence?
Guitar-wise, you know, Michael Schenker, Richie Blackmore, Angus Young, Mike Latronico. He's like one of my favorite guitar players. You know, Ted Nugent's one of my heroes. You know, he's one of those guys that was bigger than life. Seemed like he was 10 feet tall when I was a kid. You know, I'd go see him live, and I wanted to be like that guy. He just, you know, just this dominating presence, you know. Now he's just a gun-toting redneck, but, you know, that's all right. You know, I separate the two. You know, he's still one of my favorite guitar players, you know, and Gary Moore, and musically bands like, you know, Rainbow and Black Sabbath and, you know, Deep Purple, AC/DC, Nazareth. You know, there's 20 million. You know, it's mostly all old hard rock, you know.
This is Rock Girl Kimi with FM99, and I have had the pleasure of interviewing Gary Holt. Thank you so much. This has been an excellent opportunity.
Thank you. I mean, my pleasure. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.